Welcome back to We Have Cool Friends, the show where each and every week right here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, we get together with one of our cool friends to talk about their lives, what's going on with them, what's been going on with them, and what will go on with them in the future. I'm Tim Gettys. Joining me this week, Davis from the Warp Zone.
Woo! That's great!
Now, before we get into the rigmarole of the show, who are you?
Who am I? God, that's a question I've been trying to answer my whole life. I am a member of a YouTube troupe called The Warp Zone. We do video gaming and nerdy pop culture, sketch comedy, and music videos.
So you're kind of I would call you the like college humor video game division, right? You don't actually work for College Humor, but a lot of the content you make is very reminiscent of what they at least used to do. Yeah. I'm not too familiar with them nowadays.
Used to, in the early days of YouTube, send out all of our videos to blogs, and occasionally College Humor would post our stuff. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, this is We Have Cool Friends. Like I said, it's an interview show each and every week. It happens. You could watch it live on Twitch, or you could watch it later on youtube.com/kindafunny, or on podcast services. Just search for We Have Cool Friends. Please go subscribe, go rate it, give the 5 stars, the thumbs up, the likes, all the good things, because we need the extra energy, the extra boost right now to get this show in the algorithms and everything going. And ladies and gentlemen, this just in. This show is now on Spotify. So go check it out.
Finally.
I know. You can go on Spotify. You can check it out. You can listen. You can go back and listen to all the other episodes that we've done with other cool people, other cool friends. It's exciting stuff. But enough about that. I want to give a shout out to Patreon producers. Robin GL, Alec Bobco, David Mintel. Who's that, Kevin?
The Mind Freak.
Thank you, the Mind Freak. Ant-Man0208 and DJ Kento. We're brought to you by MeUndies and Quip, but we'll tell you about that later. I want to get right into it. Okay, Davis.
Yeah.
The Warp Zone YouTube channel. How many subscribers do you guys have?
we have over 2 million. I don't know the exact number right now.
2.3 million subscribers on your YouTube channel, making comedy videos, highly produced, high production comedy videos. How are you surviving financially?
Well, there's been a different, depending on the year, different business model. Most recently, now that we went independent again, ad revenue, Patreon, and just being smart with our money.
So I want to take this very far back.
Okay.
Because you just said a lot of things that I feel like we need to dive into and really kind of understand. So right now you're independent.
Yeah.
As of 2019, you're similar to a Kind of Funny.
Right.
You need patreon.com/
The Warp Zone.
support.
Become a Zoniac.
The Zoniac, there you go. We got the best friends. You got the Zoniac. They could all be friends. But you need the support of the people right now financially to keep things going. Because before, you were owned and operated by multiple companies?
It was Alloy originally, and then they merged with Break Media to become Defy. So multiple companies, but basically the same entity.
So I want to educate people a little bit here, because on the YouTube side of things, I don't think that a lot of our audience is that familiar with this side of things, because we come from IGN, right? It's like there's kind of the games journalism, games media that people are more used to.
And you guys
to
are so
podcasts.
diversified too.
I don't know. We pretty much throw a different coat of paint on the exact same thing. But hey, they're pretty coats of paint, though. Pretty coats of paint. But you know, people that listen to us kind of understand the lineage of games media, video game magazines turning into websites, turning into whatever it is we do on YouTube. But there's always this other side of YouTube that I always admired, and I feel like a lot of the people that know my journey have seen me try to do stupid comedy music videos or just stupid fun things at IGN, but that was kind of like trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Right.
And it's just that wasn't really the home for those type of things. Meanwhile, you guys kind of created this empire where that is your bread and butter. That is what you did.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it an empire, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, we basically were lucked into it almost, right place, right time.
Mm-hmm. What was that place and what was that time?
Well, so we all started, I mean, I've been making dumb videos as far back as high school, but what the Warp Zone became, we all met at Santa Clara University through the film club there. And we...
Santa Clara?
Santa Clara.
It's like right here?
Yeah.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
Are
So you
from
guys,
here?
you're SoCal based now.
I was born in LA and now we're LA based. But we all met up here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
how many guys are in your group?
There's 5 of us.
Has it been the same 5 the entire time?
Same 5, yeah.
Wow. And again, this is 2012 you're talking about?
Earlier, 2010, I think we moved in, or moved down here at least. But so we all just made videos and sketches in college because we love movies and love TV shows and stuff. And back then it was before YouTube. So what we would do is we'd just like rent out one of the rooms and just screen it for ourselves, even though we'd already written the thing and shot the thing and made the thing. But then YouTube came out and we had a place to deposit them and get them out to a wider audience.
Like the worst way you could have possibly put that.
I liked it.
we deposited our content into the internet, but we got lucky. We had a viral video early on. It was a World of Warcraft video we did called "Who's the Tank." I don't know if you are familiar with the old Abbott and Costello routine. We're like, who's on first? What's on second? It's a whole silly dumb thing. But anyways, we took that and just did a World of Warcraft version of it called "Who's the Tank." It's like cringy and embarrassing to watch now. We made it we recorded it in my bedroom, with my sister's karaoke mic. But it went big because World of Warcraft was the big thing back then in 2000 whatever. And that's what got us kind of an initial following on our college channel and introduced us to the idea that we could make a career out of YouTube, because we were pretty sure we were just going to, once everybody graduated, go to LA and do the whole try to get industry jobs and get people coffee for years until one of us had a breakthrough, and then hopefully we all rose together. So
then where did you guys get your first job?
So at the first VidCon ever, I think it was the first VidCon ever, I was working at the time, but the rest of the guys went down to LA and met up with some people at Maker Studios, because that was around the time they were trying to form the Game Station, which was their gaming nerd.
So this is where I feel like we kind of need to educate a little bit. Okay. So what is Maker Studios?
Maker Studios
what was Maker Studios?
An MCN.
What is an MCN?
A multi-channel network.
Fucking test.
A big. I mean, you use the acronym so much, you're like, oh, what is it? But it was just, it's basically like a company that represents you. They sort of act as a go-between for creators and YouTube itself. Back in the day, the only way you had to get partnered to be able to put ads and stuff. And at least early on, the best way to do that was to do it through an MCN. That was what they would offer you, and they would take a cut of your stuff, and they would help you with legal issues and some other stuff. As time went on, they've become less useful. So
essentially what happened there is that these MCNs would kind of package a bunch of different YouTube channels together to make them more valuable to advertisers and kind of pitch their products to the advertisers. Yeah. That's how product integrations like Quip and MeUndies later in this episode would come to these different groups. But the problem with the MCN is it was a great idea in the beginning because it allowed these small creators access to these giant companies. But then everyone got the dollar signs in their eyes and started seeing it's instead of focusing on the 100 creators we have, what if we had 1,000? What if we had 10,000?
What if we had 60,000?
And that's when it all started to fall apart. Yeah. So, but Maker Studios, I would say, was definitely unique in that it was one of the original MCNs. It kind of designed this whole model in a lot of ways based off the traditional Hollywood model of managers and agents and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the difference being they also had an in-house production side and their own YouTube channel that they would make content for, and that was originally called The Station.
Yeah.
What was The Station?
The Station was, because Maker was founded by a bunch of early popular YouTubers that wanted to band together and create a thing, a cool, fun, almost bohemian, we help each other, we build stuff. And they had The Station, they would have, and then the Game Station was also its own. They had verticals where they would the idea was that a bunch of people would make other content and put it in these verticals like The Station that would help, drive awareness to everybody else's channel. Mm-hmm. So for The Station, it was a lot of just sort of general sketches and other stuff.
So The Station started and it was Lisa Nova.
Yeah.
And like back originally, Philip DeFranco
Yeah.
and I'm blanking on like Shay Carl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
All
like some of
those-
like the original kind of big dogs of YouTube. And then from the success there, they were just like, all right, what if we made the other verticals of the things that are popping off?
Yeah.
Gaming being a huge
Gaming
one
was
because
huge.
Minecraft and just, all of that was going on. So
Yeah.
they made the game station that was kind of just like oh, me too, we can do it for video games, right?
Yeah.
And is that where you guys got involved?
Yeah, so at VidCon, we met with somebody, and they were like, we're starting the game station, because they also wanted not only to have channels in that, but they also wanted production people to come help out. And so they were like, oh, we see that you had some successes with, we also had like a World of Warcraft series. Do you remember like the I'm a Apple, I'm a PC commercials from wherever you're? We had that, but Alliance and Horde. And so they were like, cool, you guys do gaming stuff and you're looking for production jobs, move down, like come work here, start a new all like kind of gaming focused channel, which is what the Warp Zone became. And then, help us make content and we'll all, rise up through YouTube together.
So you made the brand, the Warp Zone,
Yeah.
under Maker. So
Yeah.
they technically owned,
No. We made it. We just signed the channel.
signed
to
away
them.
your rights of the channel.
No.
Okay,
No,
so you still owned it.
We just joined them. We were working there. We had like day jobs there, and then we made our channel, the Warp Zone, but we signed with Maker.
Okay, so you signed with them as an MCN.
Yeah,
under
not
Maker.
that they owned.
Okay.
They owned.
So you were doing production stuff at Maker. Did you work with anyone cool?
Yeah, we worked. I mean, when we first joined, StarCraft 2 was the big thing. So like Husky StarCraft was there, TB, a bunch of other people. And we got to work with them. And then, that was like right also pretty soon after Minecraft became a huge thing. And the Yogscast was part of that. And everybody else that was doing Minecraft content at the time. Jesse Cox, Gerard Khalil, the completionist. All those guys met through Game Station. And still friends with them.
Did
to
you
this
meet
day.
anyone uncool there? Like, I don't know, someone that might rhyme with Ron Pinnigan.
I did meet a Ron Pinnigan type.
Yeah.
He was doing production stuff with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean Finnegan like worked at Maker before I met him at IGN. So he was working directly with you guys.
Yeah, we
So
like
cool.
worked on a bunch of
Small
production
world.
stuff together. Yeah, it was so crazy to reconnect with him through IGN and you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love it, man. So how long was that kind of process then of you guys being part of Maker?
I think it was like 3.5 years we were with Maker doing basically during the week, during the day, production jobs, and then nights and weekends were all about Warp Zone, trying to grow that. And we had hit, at a certain point, we'd had enough success that we were like, okay, we think that if we went full time in the Warp Zone, we can like blow it up and become a thing. Maker didn't really like, they still wanted us to work and they didn't really want to support that. So about 3.5 years in, we started to talk to other networks and just see what they could offer in terms of support, and maybe we would switch networks and like try and do it full time. And we talked to everybody, but it was Alloy who was Alloy at the time, but they became Defy. They were the ones that were interested because they had acquired the Smosh brand. And then if you guys don't know, Smosh is a huge, YouTube comedy brand.
So Alloy Digital back in the day, which then became Defy. Did they have anything before Smosh?
I forget exactly. I think they had Clever. I don't remember a lot of their history pre. I think they had ties to traditional media. They had like a agency company. They had a bunch of other little things going on. But I think when they got Smosh, that was their big push into YouTube. And so we knew Ian and Anthony because they were both there at the time, and they had been acquired. And then we talked to them, and they were like, "Yeah, this is like a great company." And Alloy was like, "Look, we're all about," because let me just backtrack. Sorry. As time went on with Maker, they stopped worrying about a couple channels, like you said, and they found out it was more profitable just to sign as many channels of any size as possible. And so they ballooned into tens and tens of thousands of channel. And Alloy was like, look, we believe in boutique, like taking a brand and focusing a lot of energy on it and expanding it, not just expanding our roster. And that was exactly what we wanted to hear.
And that's the real way that this works. Like for us nowadays, like for people that don't know, like Rooster Teeth is our MCN. We are in the Let's Play family, which is a boutique MCN. They don't call it that. They pretend that it's not, but it is an MCN.
Right.
Like that's how that it works, you know?
Yeah, MCN's now a dirty word, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
Kind
a
of,
dirty,
yeah.
and that's the thing, it's a dirty word, but it's not its idea is brilliant and also necessary.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially back in the Wild
middleman.
West, it was like so necessary. Now it's a little bit different, and there's not that many around. Mm-hmm. We're with Studio 71 now.
With Studio
shout out to them.
71
They're like,
is used to be called The Collective, which used to be our MCN before we signed with Rooster Teeth. And that's another thing. John Carl, who was we've had him on the Game Over Greggy show before. He was kind of our middleman between like IGN and YouTube, and like when we made the jump, it was entirely because of him. Like really kind of in his support and his position at Collective, and him convincing, like, I was already sold on YouTube, but like convincing the other guys, like, hey, this is how this business model could work. This is where you guys would fit in. And they essentially gave us a kind of like head start where we were a small channel, still are a small channel compared to a lot of the other guys. But John Carl was like, no, we're going to pretend you're Epic Mealtime, even though we weren't. And like, I know that he does that kind of for you guys as well. And Ismahawk, Danny Shepard and them, who you guys have seen before as well. So John Carl is the fucking man.
Yeah, we've been friends with him for years, and then now he's our like rep too. So it's kind of poetic and nice and full circling.
Gotta love it. So then Smosh is with Defy at this point, or with Alloy, whatever you want to call it. And Smosh were literally the #1 most subscribed YouTube channel at the time forever. It was between them and Ryan Higa.
Yeah, I
think forth.
sometimes they would pass it off, but they were essentially the top or #2 for a long time.
It was like literally maybe 6 months by 6 months they would like just trade back and forth. And this was like before the PewDiePie days, right? Like, where he just kind of came in and destroyed for so long.
Yeah.
But Smosh was this duo of guys, and they made their comedy videos that they've been making forever. But then Smosh turned into this bigger brand, Smosh Games, the Smosh Pit. They got Mari, like it kind of just expanded there. And so then when you guys partnered with Defy, was it just as an MCN, or were you working there as well?
So the big thing was we wanted to be able to do it full time, and so they were like, we ended up selling like the Warp Zone to Alloy for jobs and health insurance and stability.
Do you regret that?
No, even when like at the darkest times where we didn't know what was going on, people were like, "Well, do you regret?" And I'm like, no, because it gave us a chance to step up and like put our money where our mouth is and really spend a lot of time like focused on the brand itself. And like, even if we didn't have it now, the lessons that we learned, like failing and succeeding in equal measure over and over and over again, is like it's like invaluable. So yeah, even though it's like a super happy ending now that we have it all back, even when like we just lost it, I was like, I still wouldn't trade it, because we were able to do and meet and learn things that we couldn't have done if we had just still done small production work while on the weekends trying to do Warp Zone.
Yeah. So that's something that I find very interesting, because this was such a pivot point for games content on YouTube, both the more traditional games media side and like the comedy side. Because so we're talking, let's just call it Defy at this point.
Yeah.
It's Defy, and there's Smosh Games, that giant side of it. Then there's the clever side that was the more esports coverage. Then there's you guys making the comedy, but then there was also game trailers.
Yeah.
Right? So what year is this?
14 maybe?
Yeah. So that was back when Andrea Renee worked around like with game trailers as well.
Yeah. Well, she also on Smosh Games, like basically like was their manager for a while too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. She like led them.
Yeah. We met her early on when we had joined Alloy. Mm-hmm. The funny thing was, so we joined Alloy, and they promised us the moon. They were like, for the first couple months, they were like, all right, we're gonna pour a ton of attention. And then like I think like 2 or 3 months after we joined, they announced that they merged with Defy, or to become Defy, which was shell shock to us, because we were like, what? We just joined this company and they promised us all these things. And that's when they brought on board Screen Junkies, who does Honest Trailers. They brought on Man at Arms, who does all the weapon building stuff. I think they got game trailers through that side of things, but very quickly it became Defy.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of pushed to the
and so you guys were all, so little step back here. So you sold it to them.
Yeah.
And like you said, you sold it for jobs. Did you guys get any actual money from it up front?
We got no money. We got stock. Which, if you know the ending of that story, is useless. But sometimes it can be. I don't know.
Yeah. You wouldn't have known back then. So,
and it felt for us, because we were still, in our like early to mid 20-ishes, like stock. It just felt so professional. Like, oh, we have stock in a company. It felt really cool at the time. Mm-hmm. I wish we just had
It's cool.
Yeah, no, it
didn't work out.
It'd be cooler if it was just cash money, but
A lot of people are asking for clarification to Andrea. Andrea was kind of managing Smosh Games, not Smosh.
Yeah, Smosh Games
as a whole. Yeah, and she kind of like was a lot like fingers in all the things that Defy, or a lot of the gaming aspects of it. But
yeah, she helped us out too. She was like really big. Anything gaming related at the company, I think she was like.
Yeah. So you sold it, you got your stocks, and then essentially all 5 of you were given salary jobs.
Yeah.
Were you given funding for your productions?
Yeah, we had like a yearly production budget, all that stuff, which was before it was just all out of pocket. So that it was awesome to have money to be able to like pay for things up front. Because the big thing is like monetization still is, and especially back then, it's tough. And you go through different periods of you getting a lot of ad revenue because CPMs are higher, or you get a brand deal, and then periods of not a lot. And if you're an independent creator, it's really hard to weather those storms. But if you have a full year where you know that no matter what, you're going to survive the year and you have a budget for it, it's much easier to be able to do things because you don't have to be as reactive and you can like stick to a plan.
So how much did you guys chase that high of monetization, and how much did that affect the content that you were making?
Well, because you're like kind of at the whim of the algorithm in YouTube, you kind of always need to be doing something that's like sort of important. So like you'll notice a lot of our sketches and stuff line up to entertainment releases. Like anytime there's a new Marvel movie coming out, because we're sort of a variety, we do music and sketch comedy, and it's kind of about different. Sometimes it's Game of Thrones, sometimes it's Mario, sometimes it's whatever. We didn't go fully down one path, which is the way to oftentimes success, is to be hyper focused on what you do. But we did try to make things relevant to whatever is popular at the time. So we changed it a little bit, but that's also just good YouTubing, is trying to be relevant. So
yeah. Exactly. So, okay. So then you had your jobs. You were just being paid to make the videos that you want to make. That must have felt awesome.
Yeah. I mean, initially we had a lot of attention, which felt really good. And then when we had no attention, it felt really bad. But what we came to appreciate was like, with lack of oversight, we were kind of freer. Like when Defy happened, they had a lot of people, a lot of higher ups from both companies who were trying to dictate the course of different, like the Smosh brand, or everybody had a lot of input about where they thought that it should go. And for us, nobody really cared that much. So we just had a budget and we got to kind of pick our own direction.
Yeah.
So on a creative side, it was, especially early on, like very fulfilling to be able to just like try.
So Defy, Alloy, merge. They bring on game trailers. They bring on more people, all in one building.
Yeah.
Did that ever get crazy? Like, how did the pros and cons kind of weigh between being able to collaborate with everybody, but then also not having your own space?
Yeah. Well, so the big thing was we were in like an office building in Beverly Hills, not meant to be a production space. It's just an office. But like above us, we had a medical facility, and they had an MRI machine that would go off and ruin takes, and they retrofitted studios. But there was a lot of people shooting out of there, so there's a lot of competition for the same space, and there was a pecking order for who got access to it. But on the bright side, because we became really good friends with Smosh Games, we collaborated a lot, and it was really easy because we just walked over to their office and just did stuff. So from that perspective, it was awesome. And then game trailers, they moved in for a time, and they were like right outside of our door. So we didn't do a lot of collaboration with them just because our kind of content, they were more editorial, more like gameplay and that kind of stuff focused, where we're more entertainment and sketch comedy focused. But I mean, it was just cool that riff off them and talk to them and hang out with them.
Yeah. So then that kept going, and then am I missing anything before things get bad?
No, I mean, like, it kind of just kept. There's a lot of, especially early on, you had people from Alloy, the higher ups, and the people from Break. You had like 2 people per jobs, and everybody was kind of like Game of Thronesing, trying to seem more important. So there was continuously throughout Defy's existence a lot of like weird shakeups and a lot of like big egos going around. So that was like a thing that we always had to contend with, was who was in charge and who wanted what out of things. But by and large, we kind of just like, the Warp Zone just kind of kept swimming and kept pedaling along. And yeah, it's not really towards till the end of Defy that things got like weird and sketchy, but yeah.
So when did things take a turn?
They're like our warning signs. One of the big things is they used to have like bagels brought in all the time. It's a good like litmus test for the health of a company. They would have like bagels brought in every day, donuts on Friday. They would do a lot of like food, a lot of this kind of stuff, and then they slowly kind of like weaned off that. They didn't even have like paper towels. They had like the weird stuff that you get in like public restrooms. It's like not. It doesn't
like
even absorb.
almost.
It doesn't even absorb water. It just like pushes it. And resources kind of dwindled a little bit. And they started selling off a lot of brands, and
so the resources dwindling. Like, looking at the content that you guys make and having been a fan of it for so many years, I am always so impressed at the level of production for you guys just being 5 guys making that stuff. With your resources dwindling, that I feel would have directly affected your guys' content a lot more than some of the other creators. Yeah,
well, what was good for us is that we actually were very low impact, and we were like, was in the black. We like made money, not like a ton for the company, but
you were profitable.
We were above. Yeah, we were like profitable, at least to a small degree, and because we didn't have massive budgets, cutting them wasn't like it didn't like ruin us. We just got creative about the kind of content, and we had a series that did really well. That was also, it was like If Blank had Facebook, where we would just sort of imagine like a Facebook feed of Game of Thrones characters or Marvel characters or that kind of stuff that was really cheap and did really well for us. So we always like rolled with things, and luckily we just leaned into that kind of stuff when we had to, and so we weren't affected that much.
So speaking of that, I feel like one of your most successful series that you guys have created, because it's great content and it is easily replicable for different properties, is the acapella stuff.
Yeah.
What does that kind of series mean to you guys?
It's fun. So I'm not really musical at all, but the rest of the guys are, and music has been like vital to us for the length of the channel. But the guys wanted to do acapellas for a long time, and we're like, okay, well, what's the way that we can kind of do it and make it fun? And so we're like, well, what if we dress up in character and kind of have like a lighthearted attitude about it? And so that's how we kind of did our spin of it, is we would do like TV show themes and stuff and just kind of dress up and get silly with it and do acapellas.
And I also feel like it's a great way for collaborations, like being able to easily kind of, I saw you've done them with like Jimmy Wong, with Dodger, with just a lot of
the Grumps.
That's amazing. Yeah. Kev, I want to look at a couple.
All right, let's do it, man.
Of these real quick. Let's do Mortal Kombat to start off.
Oh yes.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
Was this like one of the? Because this I feel was the first one I saw.
This one went big. I think how many? Yeah, it's got 16
million views.
That's cool, man. Good for you. Give me 1 second. There it is. All right.
We had one outfit and it was green, and we keyed everything else out.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, that's saving money there. So now you can cut off this one. Great stuff, but even this a little simpler, because I feel like you guys get crazy eventually. Can you go to the Powerpuff Girls one?
Oh yeah, so yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, just it like if you look at the first one, which was like a Game of Thrones one, it definitely evolved, both visually and musically. Towards the end, we did it on green screens and then did like custom backgrounds for all of them.
So who are you in this one? Are you top left?
Yes.
Okay.
We always had the same positions.
Okay.
It was like, yeah, so I'm always top left.
Go for it, Kev.
This one we did with Dodger. Oh God.
Commander and the leader, Bubbles.
It's you.
Sometimes, because I had long hair, I always played like the girl, and you know, sometimes
You can get off.
sometimes it turned out well. Sometimes it was kind of horrifying. Sometimes we didn't want to shave our facial hair.
You gotta love it. So you do that. The last one that I want to check out here because it's just so rad is the Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, this was hard. Oh God.
Good God. That's a hell of an outfit.
Thank you. I actually think this one looks pretty accurate to the show.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
So dope, dude.
Yeah, this was, I mean, and as a Cal Bebop fan, this is something that we wanted to do for a long time, and we finally did.
Cut off, Kev.
Okay.
But yeah, we got early on we did, you know, we would shoot everything. Well, we had like a friend who's like would man the camera, but we would have to edit and do everything ourselves. And at one point we got sort of a dedicated editor. His name is Chance. And once we got him, we were able to start doing stuff like that where we green screened it, and he would do literally take a chance and do kind of cool background stuff. So yeah, he got creative and inspired, and that like elevated that.
Go check them all out because like there's what, like 30 of them.
There's probably even more. Yeah, there's a bunch. We don't do them anymore.
How come?
Because they did really well for a while, and then they stopped doing well, and who knows exactly what part of the algorithm made it not work anymore. The big thing is that they're pretty short. They're like a minute to, I think like the longest one is like, we did like a medley for Game of Thrones or Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like 3 minutes. And as time went on, YouTube started to favor watch time and length, and so I think anything that was that short got kind of buried.
Mm-hmm. So when you're saying that they stopped performing as well, what metrics were you looking at there? Was it just views or was it monetization?
Well, they kind of, a lot of times they mean sort of the same thing, but yeah, a lot of times views, and our retention is really good. Like people watch most of, or a large portion of them, but it just wasn't getting spread out, and they were just not hitting, because they used to be sure things. Like we would put them out and they would do really well, and they just, you know, stopped working out as well.
So one video that I actually want to watch the entire thing of with you is something that I feel like you kind of teed up directly to speak to my heart. Kev, can you bring up the first video?
I
here?
knew you were gonna love this.
It is so good.
That one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Give me 1 second. The whole thing, huh?
Yep.
You got copyright strike. I swear to God.
Mamma mia, they're still on us. Let's go to phase 2. Phase 2? What's phase 2? The bomb's away.
So good.
Holy shit. Hell of a job, brother. When we get back to the kingdom, drinks are on me.
So good.
Mario,
I knew this was gonna hit exactly when we were making. I'm like, Tim's gonna love this.
You gonna turn your back on family? That wasn't Mario. That wasn't my brother.
He's the dirtiest racer in the mushroom circuit. And now, he's working with Mario.
This is my favorite
I
part.
found my team.
This should be interesting.
You wanna play like that?
It's so dumb.
It's so good.
Whoa.
If we're gonna beat Mario, we'll have to all work together.
Oh boy, we got a tank. Here we go.
This is my favorite part. Hold this a little bit.
Damn, so good.
It's so good.
I'm gonna win.
first place.
Like the coloring and like the way you guys shot this is great.
So well done.
I got this.
So,
Bye-bye.
this is so dumb.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
So,
we want to give a huge
how?
shout out to Pistol Shrimp.
Well,
for
so
collaborating.
we talk about that. So Pistol Shrimps, you know that they do a bunch of fun. Them and like Arl Knots. There's a bunch of cool YouTube people that they take footage and splice in other stuff and make cool remixes of it. And I don't know, it was like the timing of Mario Kart 8 coming out, and was that Fast? Which one was that? 7?
Fate
or-
of the Furious.
And we were just like, we watched the trailer and we're like, it might have been even just inspired simply by the wrecking ball and being
Yeah.
like a bomb. And we were like, we should just do this. And we like wrote the script in like 2 seconds. It like, 'cause there's not a lot in it. It's so easy. And then we hit up Pistol Shrimps and they were down to do it. And it was awesome. The shooting it was kind of tricky, but because you have to match the lighting. And I think we did a pretty good job.
You did an amazing job.
They did the effects, so it's given them. But we basically just got in a green screen, and our buddy Mike Schmidt, who shoots a lot of our stuff, is a genius. And we just had to like, it was like 10 to 12 hours for those few shots. And they're just, you gotta get you like look at the trailer, try to get the lighting right, adjust, shoot it, and go, and hope it works.
So there's obviously it looked great, but like even the music, like you guys have like a custom score that is like Fast and Furious Mario Kart inspired. Like,
Yeah.
Like who did all that stuff?
Oh, we have so Ryan, who was Toad in there, he's like he writes all of our music videos and composed a lot of our acapellas. He's like a music guy, and then we have a team of like music producers that we know that we work with, and they just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
A lot of them are also super huge nerds, so they will oftentimes like surprise us with how good of a job they do.
Before we continue, I want to let you know that this episode of We Have Cool Friends is brought to you by MeUndies. Summer comes with a number of awesome perks: vacations, beach days, barbecues. Oh yeah, baby. But the one perk that outshines them all is summer-themed undies. Is that right, Kevin?
I love my pineapple ones, and I hate
Gotta love them.
pineapples.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm wearing MeUndies right now. How soft are they? Very soft. You gotta love those micro-modal fabrics. Let's talk comfort. MeUndies scientists spent countless hours in their underwear labs testing out the softest fabrics in all the land. The result, they nailed it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm loving it. I'm very thankful that they put in all that hard work. You can look out for new summer-themed prints dropping every Tuesday, and Greg Miller was thrilled to find out that now you can match with your puppy. That's right. They made buddy bands. These cute little things. Now your dogs can match with you and your undies. Wow. What will they think of next? MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners. For any first-time purchasers, when you purchase any MeUndies products, you get 15% off and free shipping. You can get 15% off a pair of the most comfortable undies you will ever put on. I guarantee that. To get your 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Also, let me give a shout out to Quip. If you're not brushing your teeth with Quip, you're not brushing your teeth at all. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's actually correct, but Quip has helped me brush my teeth better because they have the 2-minute timer. Have you experienced this yet?
I have one that has 2-minute timer.
So
I don't
here's
have
the
a Quip,
deal.
but-
Here's the deal, though. Then you need to change your life around, and I'm gonna give you the code later, and we'll fix that. Because this Quip, I love how sleek it is. I love how sexy it is. I have the black on black one. My friends, they've all been very impressed when they see my toothbrush, and I've never had anyone be impressed by a toothbrush before.
You didn't know
so
it was bragging
they're,
rights, but
They're
now you
doing
have it.
something right, but I love it. 30 seconds. Yeah, please show the people. Look at this.
This, I don't want to ruin the ad, but like, I might be like attracted to that.
That's hey
Like,
man. I
that's
get
like
it.
a sexually attractive brush. Sorry, I'm sorry. I want that in my mouth. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. There are sensitive sonic vibrations for an effective clean that's gentle on your sensitive gums. Is that built-in 2-minute timer that I was telling you about? It pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch quadrants of your mouth. Quadrants, one of my favorite words. There's a multi-use cover that works as a stand. It mounts to mirrors and slides over those bristles to pack and protect your Quip on the go. Like when we go on all of our trips. I just went to San Diego. Guess what? I brought this. All I had to do was take my stand, take the toothbrush out, flip it over the other way, put it in, boom, it's a travel holder. How about that? Brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. A friendly reminder when it's time for a refresh and to stay committed to your oral health. That's why I love Quip. They just make it all easy for me, and why I am taking it to every single place that I go this summer and beyond. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/KFMS right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/KFMS. Back to the show. So Fast and Furious, huh? Nailing it. Killing the game. Is that one of your proudest creations?
Yeah.
Be. It's damn good.
Yeah.
It's one that I normally like hate watching my own stuff with people, but that one is like funny, so I'm down with it. Yeah, we had a feeling it was going to be like, if pulled off correctly, it was going to be great, and I don't know, it was awesome.
Yeah, very cool stuff. So nowadays, actually, let's get back to the when everything went wrong. So you're starting to see the bagels go away. Donut Fridays. I'm not like complaining about that stuff. You're making a good
I just
point.
am like notice. It's like the little things you start to notice where you're like, huh, that's weird. But yeah, so that kind of like, and there's always like rumblings that they're in trouble or whatever. But you don't know what is actually true and what's just people being sensationalizing about it. But the time it was BlizzCon last year is where it was like a Friday where they sent out an email to everybody, and I was at BlizzCon, but the guys called me, and it was basically an email being like, in accordance with some law, we have to tell you that the company is shutting down in 60 days and blah 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 blah. And they're like, but don't worry.
Don't worry.
We have a plan. This is like, they made it sound like this was like, don't worry, it's not even a problem at all. This just like, we like triggered a weird law, and so we're legally obligated, but we're gonna figure it out. And that was like, okay, but like they said they have a plan, so like, cool. And then we went in the next Monday. Everyone's like, cool, so that really scary email that you said wasn't an issue, what's going on? And everybody's higher ups were like, no comment right now, they're figuring it out, and they're gonna send it like an email out at some point or address it. And we're like, cool, so I guess we'll keep making videos. And so all of Monday happened. I didn't hear anything, and we're like, this is a little puzzling, maybe even a little troubling. And then Tuesday came around, and there was still no answer, and that's when people were like, shit, this might not be good. So the Tuesday, everybody was like, just hanging out. There's a lot of alcohol being consumed in the offices, and this is before we even knew what the answer was. It was pretty funny. We don't have a lot of merch, and hadn't historically, because Defy didn't really believe, or one of the higher ups didn't believe in merch, but we had just started to start that process rolling. So 2 hours before it all went down, our prototype merch showed up. And so we're all just hanging around the office, and some guy's like, I got those samples that we ordered like a couple months ago, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. And then like less than 2 hours later, we got a very impersonal email being like, the Defy is shutting down effective immediately. Everybody's fired. Go sign your exit paperwork and leave.
And so, okay, this was last year that you're talking about, right?
No.
But before that, years ago now, game trailers completely just shut down.
Yeah.
Almost out of nowhere.
It felt like, and I don't know if it was different for them, but for the other people at the company, and we were literally door away from them, it just felt like out of nowhere. Like they were just, 1 minute they were like still producing all their shows, and then just plug pulled.
I mean, this is well documented because Brandon Jones was coming up here to be on the kind of a Gamescast or Game Over Greggy show. I don't remember at the time.
Yeah.
To talk about game trailers and to like for the first time ever have us and them collaborate. And we'd been planning it for a couple months, and 2 weeks before he came up here, this happened. And it was just like, oh no, Game Trailers is done. And he's like, fuck it, I still want to come up.
Yeah.
So he came up and did the show with us. And at that point, he was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And we went out to lunch with him and we're talking to him and he was like asking us about Patreon and like how to like if we thought that was a good idea. And it's like absolutely it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like you can do this. Like, and that's the thing with Patreon is I always tell people when they're making one is like you need to commit to it. It needs to be a huge priority for you. It can't just be like, you can't just treat a Patreon like you treat an Instagram.
Yeah,
it's like
we gotta be better about that.
You just need to
personally,
focus
Patreon.
on it and be like, this is the thing. But you also need a story. You know, we kind of had that initial story of we're quitting our dream jobs to make a new dream job. And it's like that worked for us, right? Danny O'Dwyer was like, hey, I'm making content that I believe in so much. And there's a small audience at GameSpot for, but the GameSpot audience doesn't believe in it.
Yeah.
You want to see these documentaries. Boom, there it goes, right? And I feel like Game Trailers, now Easy Allies, had the best story of, yo, motherfuckers, we lost our jobs. Like, help us, and then you can see the success and their hard work kind of paying off there. But so them kind of like going through all that and obviously not being able to keep the brand of Game Trailers because Defy owned it at that point, right? That's always an interesting thing of the branding. So they go off and do that. You guys are now in this panic where it's like you all got fired, but it's not just Warp Zone, it's also Smosh.
Yeah.
One of the biggest channels in the world is now fired.
Yeah. Clever is a huge, like, sort of more female-driven, like, lifestyle thing. There, everybody, all these thriving brands are just sort of like homeless now, and no one knows what's
Smosh
going to happen.
millions of views a video.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just gone.
Yeah, huge.
So what happened next?
So we like packed up and basically like headed out. I mean, some people like stayed overnight and like there was a whole party and that kind of stuff. I was just so tired, and I had been at this point a little burnt out at Defy anyways and stuff. So I just kind of like packed up and went home and cuddled with my dog and went to sleep. And then the next day we all like met up at one of our houses and we're like, okay, well, what's our plan? So the first thing was we're like, well, we have a bunch of our equipment and stuff that we need to like keep somewhere, and we were like, we know we're gonna try in the short term to like figure out how to see if we can get our brand back first, and if not, then we'll see where we go, like what new direction we're gonna take. So we did that. We just like got a thing and we started emailing like every single person in the company that we could to try to get any information about what was going on, because we got a very impersonal email being like, due to the market conditions, Defy has to shut down, which is insane because that's not at all what happened. But it's yeah.
So why? Like someone in the chat right now, PD Popov is saying, what actually caused them to close if all these brands were doing so well?
I don't know exactly what I can say, but let's just say not great business practices. A lot of waste. Like the company was a lot wasteful in a lot of different ways, and they had a lot of like. They also owned a lot of little side businesses and things that I don't know a lot about, but people were saying that stuff cost a lot of money. But eventually if you've seen Matt Pat's videos on about what happened to him and some of the other people that weren't owned by them but were just using them as MCN, they did some shady shit like taking money that was never theirs and passing it off as revenue and other things to inflate stuff. So I think it was just a lot of bad business, to put it scientifically.
So then you guys are like, we're trying to get your brand back, and I imagine that failed.
Yeah, so we finally got in contact with the company that was brought on to handle the like sale of all the assets and stuff, and to help get the people that are owed money back. And we chatted with them a little bit, and they were accepting offers for like you could just put in a bid to buy it, and we didn't make a lot of money. People seem to think that like subscribers means that because we have 2 million subscribers we were making $2 million all the time, but we basically just sent them like an offer that was a lot for us but like laughably small, I guess, for them.
Can you say what the offer was?
I don't know. I haven't talked to the guys if I'm allowed to say what it was, but it was tied to an unfinished integration we were in the middle of doing.
Got it.
And so it was like some money, but also us doing something else. And I don't even think we really got like they just stopped talking. Like, once they realized that we weren't a serious contender for bidding, they didn't talk to us anymore. So then we started talking to companies who might be interested in buying the brand from them and then having us kind of like with our arrangement with Defy, where they'd own the brand, but we would operate it and we would do some sort of rev split or some kind of thing like that. And so we talked to a couple different companies, and that seemed to have traction, but after a while it seemed like the intermediate company was not really talking to anybody. They were just, I think, trying
interested in the idea potentially.
Well, they even said they're like, because we're in one of those situations where like the Warp Zone brand without us isn't really like worth as much, because it's like very us.
And that's how this works all the time in our industry, and seeing how this all changes. It's like, some brands are bigger than the personalities, and I feel like you really kind of need to create that culture if you want that to be true.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's kind of funny. We really are trying our best to, have it so that Kind of Funny is eventually going to be equally Andy as it is Greg.
Right.
And like, will that ever happen? I don't know, but that is the goal. That is the plan. And like even a Barrett, a Kevin, like to kind of like make people, I fucking hate you. I look at him and he just flicks me off.
You have like just one of the best smiles.
It's something. But it's like this idea of like wanting to create something that is more than, just like the pieces. And I we've talked about this a million times, but like when Greg and Colin did Beyond at IGN, it was like, that's what they were known for. And like people like Beyond is Greg and Colin. And we tried to get the brand, and of course IGN was like, "Fuck off," because like, why wouldn't they?
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, no, this is our PlayStation podcast, and like we're gonna keep going, keep pushing, and it's like for us it was like, you motherfuckers, what are you doing? But then it's like there's the other side of it. It's like, okay, but no, like Beyond can be something different, can evolve, and can change. And I've told this story before too, and I love that now Fran works with us, so I get to like rub it in his fucking face. But I'll never forget when we were leaving, and this motherfucker starts telling me that IGN like let Tim host, and I'm just like, I am Tim. You're gonna hire another Tim and that wants to host, and did
you guys copyright that?
And I was just like, no, dude, no. So fuck you, Fran. Fuck you.
Cool.
Huh?
He works for you now.
Fuck you, Fran. No, but
look,
but,
it's
but
good. It's good to
like,
roast your friends if they need it.
Exactly. But then you look at it, I feel like we've seen this a lot with Easy Allies trying to get game trailers. That didn't work out. When you got a lot of the Rooster Teeth brands, when things have happened, and it's like people try to get these brands back, and it's like, it's just not gonna happen. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of internet video.
Yeah.
Until now. So what happens here?
So we're trying to figure out what our future is with other companies and the company, and things just go, and we're doing like, I took basically like 2 weeks of doing nothing after we would have like morning calls and figure out what we were doing for the brand back, but doing nothing before. It was like, okay, now I'm starting to, it's exciting after having worked for so many years and not taking a lot of time off to like have some time off. But then we were like writing pilots for shows, because our big dream is to work in Hollywood and to make movies and shows. And so we're doing stuff, we're consulting for other people. We're trying to figure out a plan B. Things go kind of dark, and we're sort of starting to think that maybe that's it. It'll just go into limbo somewhere. It'll get snatched up by some media company that doesn't care about it, and
like we saw happen with SourceFed.
Yeah.
Right? SourceFed, another perfect example of like, can we believe that company doesn't exist? When it first started, it was just like, oh my God, Philip DeFranco's starting a news network, like a entertainment news network, this thing, and it's successful. People love the host. It's going to go forever. Oh, no, it's just gone.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing to Defy of like, how is something so successful just going to disappear? And it's just because it was managed poorly from the top. And then they sold it off to, what was it? The Now News? What's New News or whatever the hell, and then like they tried making content, and everyone's like, "Fuck you!" They're like, "You are not this brand."
Right? Yeah. People are not that, they're not that dumb. They're like, you can't just like pull fast ones on them. People are gonna be like, "No, this is stupid." But like, so we didn't really know what was gonna happen, because again, we're like the smallest brand of all of the big brands that they had owned. And then just kind of out of nowhere, and we had been talking with Ian from Smosh throughout the process, because he's our friend and is in a similar boat, and so he would just give us what info he had, And we hadn't really heard from him in a while because there wasn't any news. Everyone was sort of in a waiting pattern. Everybody that had bid was like, well, I guess we're just waiting on this intermediary company to figure out what's going on. And then just out of nowhere, like a beautiful angel, we just got like a little email being like, what's up? Actually, it was kind of cryptic. It was like, what's up? I think I have a way to get Warp Zone back for you guys. And we're like, what? Holy shit.
So at this point, Ian from Smosh, like one of the founding 2 members, that was the same guy that was the #1 most subscribed fucking YouTube channel of all time for years, right? Is now kind of not taking a step back entirely, but like there is a team underneath him of hosts where it is a bit more like SNL, where there is the new class of Smosh kids, I'd call them, where there's like 10 people you'd say, like between Smosh Games and Smosh.
They've even blended them further now post-Defy, but there was Ian and there's like Courtney and Shane. There's like 5 other.
So there's all these kids that have worked very hard to kind of be this next generation of Smosh and they're kind of proving themselves. And after working for a couple years, it's just boom, they're all laid off too.
Yeah.
Or not laid off, fired, right? And then it's just like, is it laid off at that point?
It is laid off.
Yeah. So okay. So they get laid off, and then it's just like, fuck, what's gonna happen with this? But there's so much talent there. There's so much potential. And so much potential for money to be made from somebody. So what happens from this email?
We were like, holy shit, that sounds crazy. What's going on? But I think because he's under NDA, it was like, just give me a sec. I can't like tell you anything yet. So we got this excited thing, and then we had to like wait a week or 2 to hear any more info on it, which was awesome. But also we were like, was this email an oasis? Did we dream it up? Was this even real? It was awesome, and it kind of made us like anxious again. And then basically, when he was able to talk about what happened, he told us like that Mythical had helped liberate Smosh and the whole Smosh brand from the weird trash fire that was the end of Defy, and that they were able to get the Warp Zone as well. And
so who are Mythical?
Mythical is Rhett and Link is the 2 main big guys, but they have a whole company now. That
Good Mythical
stuff.
Morning, all that stuff. If you've seen KFAF, you'd like this show.
Yeah.
It's essentially they have their production company, Mythical, so they are trying to make their own kind of empire of stuff, and they got the brands.
Yeah, and they got
all of them.
The Smosh and Warp Zone stuff.
Okay.
Clever and the other ones have all gone on their own places, but and we.
So this is where I don't fucking understand what the hell happened, because Smosh now works for Mythical. They're doing their thing, almost like nothing changed. It's just boom, they're back, they're killing it. You guys are independent. What happened?
They just said, "Hey, we got it. We don't have any plans for it." Like they're just like, you can have it back.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not how companies work.
I
They
know.
just gave it to them.
It is like literally a miracle. I don't know. We could not believe it because it's been such an emotional roller coaster, and we had so many plans about how to get it back, and then they all failed, and we were just like, I guess the Cinderella story is over, and we turn back into a pumpkin. But then Ian's like, wait, and then he's like, here's like, boom, this thing that you've worked on for so many years, and it was just like crazy, and everyone's like, that's it, no strings attached, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. They were just
like, we don't want it, thanks.
Yeah, they were like, you guys have been through enough. It really sucks that this happened. Here you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, it is seriously
That's that, bro.
unreal.
Yeah.
And so you guys now have been, was there ever a conversation of, do you guys want to work under us? Like did Mythical at all kind of even give an offer of like, you can do the same thing that you've kind of done a million times?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. They were like,
Would you have wanted it that way at this point in your life?
I probably would have. It would have been. It depends. I probably would have, because we were trying to get a similar thing with another company. Yeah. We probably would have taken it because it's, hey, we love the brand even if we didn't own it for a couple of years. We still think of it as our baby, and the content is our voice, and and we would have wanted. And it's like, it's a decently sized channel. Like, yeah, why stop it?
So now you own it. You're independent. How is that going?
Better than expected. We're so fucking lucky because we got it back, and we went dark for 4 months or a little more than that, and we were like, well, it's gonna have to be a rebuilding year because You know, obviously views are going to be down if you don't upload. Luckily, like, we didn't really lose any viewership. We gained subscribers in the break, and so we got to come back, and it's a little different because now, obviously, patreon.com/thewarpzone. We need Patreon to support us, but the big thing is we're like, okay, we're trying to come in and be more focused with our fans and our viewers, like have a better relation, like a tighter relationship with them, make more of the kind of content that we want to make that excites us, and while also, you know, trying to do other things like make a show or make a movie at some point. So we hit the ground running. We did a couple videos. We did like a tell-all basically where we talked about the whole Defy story, and then we kind of have been doing, we usually upload one big, you know, video a week is what we used to do, and now it's every other week with some ancillary content peppered in. Luckily, we had some videos taken down, some music videos and stuff that were taken down years ago because of copyright issues that are actually clear, but Defy never wanted to fight for them. And so we've been like re-uploading those, which are kind of cool because it's like a fun little like, hey, remember this video where we were 4 years ago? That's kind of funny. It's a little shitty, but it's kind of funny. Here you go. Yeah, so we're just taking it day by day. We have because we don't have production budgets, it's all of us, like, you'll see us in our Mario costume off screen holding the boom. We're back doing it kind of like that, but it's, I don't know, it's about passion again, and it's really fun, and it's like, I don't know, as long as we're allowed to do it, we're going to keep trying, and it's cool.
How can people best support you guys?
Patreon is the best way to directly support us. Again, patreon.com/thewarpzone. We're trying to get better. Patreon wasn't as big when we first sold. Like, maybe if it was, we would have gone the Patreon route the entire time. But we're trying to figure that out. We have a couple fun little like things, like we do like a preview, like a live stream for a certain tier a day before, and we premiere them the video, and we do a little Q&A and have fun. We do lewds.
Yeah, you do.
Usually it's Odom because he's the hot one and he's got a good body. But last month we did a little Peggy Carter. I was Peggy Carter on the beach. He was Steve Rogers. We did a little cute little photo shoot. And we have like a fun tier where we basically just send props and pictures and stuff. So that's the best way. But also just watching all of our content. We also upload to Facebook a lot too. So it's on YouTube or Facebook. And we just started a new podcast.
Awesome. Very cool.
How did you miss that? Just about us catching up on movies we missed and yelling at each other.
How did you miss that? It's a great name.
It is. It is a great, fantastic name. This has been so much fun. I'm happy that we finally got to sit at a table with mics in front of us and talk, because like we've known each other for forever.
Years. It was like 5 or 6. It was like before Kind of Funny was even a thing.
Oh yeah. Like
was,
I remember. I mean, we've met briefly like here and there at like random like VidCon parties and stuff. But then the one moment that blew my mind was E3, and I don't know if you remember this, but we were near the Staples Center or LA Live, and I was just walking, and you were walking, and you had your headphones in, and then you looked at me, and we both kind of did the like, oh shit, like, hey, it's you. And then you're like, dude, I'm literally listening to Gamescast right now. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then we just started like catching up and stuff. And it was just like such a weird thing, because like that was right when I found out that you had worked with Finnegan.
Yeah.
And all that. I'm just like, I work with Finnegan. Like, what the fuck? But it was just such a cool thing to see you guys kind of kill it and grow. And like I was saying earlier in the episode, like we do these podcasts and stuff, and I love it. It is definitely my passion, but like forever I wanted to do what you guys do, like the comedy stuff, the gaming stuff, and like you guys have consistently done it for now 10 years, you know, like successfully. And even though you've had such a weird, tumultuous journey, like you now own your shit. Like you own the brand that you built over those years with all the views, with the 2.3 million subscribers. Like,
it's a big number.
This is an insane story, man.
Yeah, when we sold, we had like 300,000, and it's definitely interesting being independent with a over 2 million subscriber channel.
Sounds cool.
people definitely a little more interested in talking to you.
Yeah, no, man, that's super fantastic, and I don't want to get into it right now, but I'm sure at some point we'll talk about the story of Inside Gaming and Funhouse, and because that is another are you familiar with this whole situation?
I know
how they
of
got the brand, but you know what? Fuck it, we'll get into it right now.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you because like we're talking about all these failed things and failed attempts at getting brands back, and you guys being this insane story where they just gave it to you. The Inside Gaming story is utterly insane. So Inside Gaming is now Funhouse, right?
Yeah.
Just renamed. Well, at least was. So Inside Gaming worked at Machinima when we worked at IGN. They did very similar content to us, just kind of gaming news and stuff. They were much funnier than we were. But then eventually Machinima was kind of being shitty and going down the hill, just like all of these other companies, Machinima, another major MCN of the formative years. They were definitely, them and Maker were two examples of how not to do it, where things were going bad. So they jump ship. Rooster Teeth essentially hires all of them, and they launch Funhouse. They started doing Funhouse forever. They tried getting the Inside Gaming brand from Machinima. Machinima was like, fuck you guys, not a chance in hell, right? So they're like, all right, that sucks, whatever. Funhouse becomes hyper successful. You guys see where they're at now. And Rooster Teeth grows, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and everything starts getting crazy where Rooster Teeth gets bought by Fullscreen. Fullscreen gets bought by AT&T. AT&T partners with Warner Media. Warner Media owns Machinima. Machinima goes down. Wait a minute. That means Inside Gaming is owned by Warner. Funhouse literally just asked, can we have the brand back? Yes, you could have the brand back. They now make Inside Gaming again.
What a weird, beautiful full circle.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to content creators that are working their fucking asses off, building brands for other people, and happy endings to that.
And then sometimes they get it back.
Well. Yeah. And I hope that's a trend that we start to see a bit more in the future, because it can happen. I think that we're finally hitting a point where we're out of what people called the Wild West of internet video. There are rules now. There are systems in place that people understand of how to monetize and how to grow, how to play with algorithms, but not live by the algorithm, And,
right.
And the days of collaborating, just to spike views, are, I feel for the most case, on the way out, where it is more about collaborating because you like each other.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you guys, man.
Thanks,
Keep
man.
killing it. Again, where can people find you?
Patreon.com/The Warp Zone, and then The Warp Zone on every social medium.
Yes.
Except for Twitter, where it's Warp Zone Tweets.
Warp Zone Tweets. What about you on Twitter?
Team Davis is my Twitter. Team Davis Insta for
there
Insta.
You go. Well, Davis, thank you very much for
Thank you,
joining
man.
us for this episode of We Have Cool Friends. Kevin, did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
You sound like you had a good time.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, guys, I love you. We'll see you very soon. If you're watching this live, we're doing the Gamescast live for patreon.com/kindoffunnygames users later today with Davis, with Andrea Renee,
Yay.
with Greg Miller. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, adios.